Hey, what's going on, guys? It's been a while, but you know what? I got a new car, GR86 2022, and I don't know, I've just been wanting these for a while. They're just so hard to get. And there's a huge markup on these. You know, you'd be lucky if you find one that somebody canceled their order on, or you know, through a friend or something, I don't know. But finally got one exactly in the spec that I wanted. So it's a pearl white. It's the exact same thing as my WRX paint. And this is a base package, so I'm super excited. You know, there's a lot of things I want to do. You know, I've dumped a lot of money into the down payment, so I'm kind of low on, you know, as far as the funds for the mods. But I'll definitely get, my first thing is to get is coilovers and then wheels, maybe both at the same time. I've narrowed it down to a few options on the wheels, but I'm still not 100% sure. Like, on one hand, I want to do like a 9.5 setup, just like the basics. You know, sometimes that looks good. But on the other hand, you know, kind of want to go more aggressive. I don't know, 10.5, lower offset, make it look poke out a little bit, you know, stance like my WRX. So when I look at these wheels, they don't do the car any justice. They're 17s, tires are 215. I mean, it's like rolling on skates. The main difference between this and the BRZ is mainly the front bumper, obviously the logos. So they take the car from Subaru, which is where it's built, and then do their own tuning. They change the sway bars. I believe it's a hollow sway bar versus BRZ's solid. And that's pretty much it, guys. You know, I don't know any other difference between the two, but there's something about the Toyota GR86, like the name. I really wanted it over the BRZ, but honestly, I would take both any day. The interior is pretty basic. It's like, you know, basic package. You get cloth seats, which is exactly what I wanted. These actually allow you to sink into the seats like deeper, and they hug you around more. So yeah, I really like them. So my favorite parts about the car so far have been the steering, the feel like you're being plugged into the car when you get in. Like, for example, in the WRX, when you get in, it's like the seat is much higher, so you feel like you're just sitting into the car. Whereas this, you feel like you're sitting into the floor or something, if that makes sense. Oh, I feel like I just plummeted, you know. But another thing you notice right away are how high these doors are. It's like when you put your elbow, I don't know if you guys drive like this, but I do sometimes, most of the time. So I feel like my elbow is way too high, but you get used to it, and it's kind of cool actually. But another thing I noticed is the windshield is a little bit narrower than the WRX, and it's something to get used to as well. But it's got this shape where it's low right here in the corner, but then it gets higher and higher in the center. You feel like you have this sort of bowl, like a fish bowl, I don't know. So yeah, but the quality of the materials and everything is outstanding. So for example, the steering wheel, it's a little bit smaller. It seems like it's a little bit smaller than the WRX STI stock steering wheel. So I feel like it's like a 355 millimeter diameter or something like that. And it's just like, man, it feels perfect. The leather, the quality of the leather is just as good as it gets. I always change shift knobs in cars, every car I've ever had. You know what? This is the first time I actually feel like I would keep this shift knob, at least for a while, because there's just something about it, like the touch, everything, the look is so nice. Perfect size, it's got this nice leather. There's nothing cheap about it. I like that this finally has this, like, going into reverse, it's up to the left versus the down to the right, which never felt natural to me. So this is awesome. I do absolutely dig these buttons. They feel like a GTR, kind of like all the buttons, that traction control and all that stuff. Although these kind of control like trivial things like AC mode, like recirculation, you know, sync for temperature. So they're kind of not as fun as you would think, you know. And when you start the car, the whole car shakes. It's just such a small car with a bigger engine. Like, the car shakes side to side every time you start it, which is a cool effect. Oh, pretty easy. So this doesn't have the shocks to hold the hood up like my WRX does, but it's all good. Weight savings. And I kind of like this whole analog feel to it. The whole car is just, I don't know, old school analog. So anyway, the engine looks good. I don't think I'm going to be doing anything to the engine for a while. Of course, ideally you'd want like a turbo or something, or a supercharger, but to be honest, like I got this whole power, speed, hunger out of my system for, back in the day, so I didn't get this car for the power. But although the torque is amazing in this car, like I've driven the regular, the previous gen BRZ, and there's no comparison. The way it feels when it picks up speed, like any gear, you can be in fifth gear on the street, you just feed it throttle just a little bit, and you feel like it just kicks you back. It's perfect for daily driving, perfect for the track, whatever you want to do with the car. You're gonna immediately notice how torquey and eager to go it is, like whatever gear you're in. Like on the freeway, I was driving home, I was in sixth gear. Like I swear I would never have to downshift. I don't slam the hood when I close it, so what I do is I gently lower it, and then I just press down on it, like that. So I would normally debadge the entire car every time I get one, but you know what? There's something about the GR86 here, I don't think I'm gonna touch it. Although I am thinking maybe doing it like a satin gunmetal or something on the 86, something like that. Something to make it more unique when people see it, like they have the same car, they're driving, like, oh man, mine looks different, and that's cool because I did mine more custom. So that's what it's all about. You just make it through like little touches here and there. You just make yours stand out and make it more special to you and to others. Third brake light is pretty cool, although I would actually tint the sides, or hopefully their aftermarket has something to offer soon in that regard. The exhaust tips, I'm frustrated by how tucked in they are. They're actually not bad looking tips. They're actually probably the best looking stock tips you can get, at least in this price segment. But they're so tucked into the car, into the bumper, they look like your mufflers just fell off. I mean, you can't even see anything unless you are standing directly behind the car. So yeah, something has to definitely be done about that. Although I'm not ready to modify the exhaust yet. Maybe I'll look into like some kind of custom tips, or maybe just leave it alone for now. So the best part of the back has to be the taillights. Absolutely gorgeous, and they did this tinted look on the sides. That's exactly what us WRX and STI guys do to our stock taillights. We add these accents already. So one thing I noticed right away when I opened the trunk is how tiny the inside space is of the trunk, and that actually kind of shocked me. But it's not a big deal. I don't really carry a bunch of stuff, So, but like, there's just no space for anything. It's super lifted here. I'm not sure what's underneath. I think a spare tire and stuff. Is there actually a spare tire here? Oh, you know what? There's no spare tire. So this is just all foam. Yeah. Okay, so, but I don't carry anything, or I don't have like any hobbies that like mountain bike or anything. So I don't really need the space, so it's all good, just to throw some groceries or, whatever. But I really like this trunk. The design of it is absolutely cool. Yeah. Although I have to admit, not a fan of this third light. It's very generic. They could have done something much better than this, I think. And yeah, the backup camera is right there. They could have at least put it, here or something. I don't know. Nitpicking, guys. Nobody cares stuff like that. So first thing to go, of course, is the license plate frame. I always remove those. I just don't like the tacky look of the chrome. So I would normally tint the windows, on any new car, because I don't like the fishbowl look. But you know what? The older I get, the less I care about stuff like that. And I kind of actually want to be seen through the windows. Like if somebody says hi, or they like your car, or like another Subaru or Toyota enthusiast drives by you, gives you like a peace sign, you want to like kind of recognize that and just like throw them a sign too. But I don't know, when you got tinted windows, nobody can see you through it, and just like you look like a recluse. So I want to avoid that. So not going to tint the sides at all. Maybe tint these, probably not. What's the point? But definitely want to tint the back window. So I usually would do 5% on the back, so that it basically flows with the car. It looks like a black glass, so you don't see through anything. So luckily I got a good deal on this car. I didn't pay any markup, and the total came out to be like 33 something. I did have to pay for these extra packages, which are like all-weather mats and some clear protective stuff, which I asked them not to install, just give them to me. So one thing I was absolutely blown away with when I got the car and I drove it home. So I drove it for like an hour and a half home, and I was on the freeway, on the roads, and I was just blown away by the steering response and I can see why everybody loves it so much. Like, especially when they take it to the track, everybody's just like baffled by how good it is. And I saw it right away, just turning the wheel. Even if you turn it just a little bit, it is kind of very similar to the previous gen, BRZ, and you know, whatever the previous gen of Toyota was, I already forgot. But anyway, I think they improved a few things, such as they basically linked up the steering column more, like there's less parts to it, but don't quote me on this, you just do your own research. All I know is the experience was amazing, and just being one with the car, that's what it feels like. It's like a little go-kart. You turn it a little bit, just a little bit on the road, and it just reacts. You know, the suspension is very stiff on this car. It's not that it's jittery, but it's and it's not that it's bouncy, but it's kind of a little bit of both. Like, it feels like stiff coilovers, you know. It feels like my WRX when you dial up the dampening, and it reacts to every little bump. So I can't wait to get some good coilovers, you know, to smooth it out, because this stock ride, yeah, I'm not a fan at all, you know. Like, it's very responsive to the road, but if you are on really bad roads, yeah, it's not the most pleasant experience I've had. So one thing I wasn't sure at first about is these black mirrors. I normally would like them to be paint matched to the car, like my WRX is, with like black kind of accents on the bottom, but these are fully gloss black. And I don't know, I wasn't sure about it at first when I saw it, but now they actually have grown on me, and I appreciate the contrast that they have with the white paint, and just looks so nice, especially in gloss black. And the quality of OEM paint is, you can't match that, you know, unless you go into a professional shop. You can't match it with any crappy vinyl, you know, gloss vinyl, where you get the orange peel effect. Yeah, everything's there to create contrast, basically. This giant grille catches your eye immediately at the front, and then everything else starts flowing. You got these black panels here, black headlights. I like the fact that they blacked out the headlights inside, because that's something I would normally do. I would open them up, I would paint the inside housing, you know, I would reseal them. Hey, you don't have to do that anymore. Boom, it's perfect. And absolutely amazing projectors. They look like a little transformer's eye, you know. Just, I don't know, I'm blown away by the design of this car. It's just, they nailed it. And yeah, like just looking at this angle right here, it doesn't get better than this. Like, all you need is add a nice lip that sticks out quite a bit, you know. Well, it depends on your taste, but yeah, just the lip, wider wheels, you know, it would just set it off completely. Now I'm just so excited, guys, you know, and my mind is going crazy of the stuff that I actually want to do, either like buy, you know, for the car, or like make myself, you know, all the aero parts. I definitely want to make myself, including the front lip. So a lot of videos mentioned the cabin sound being like kind of fake. The fact that it's pumped into the interior, I'm not sure about the system that they use to pump it in, either through the speaker or some kind of, you know, under dash tubing, whatever. It just sounds great. You know, the car is so quiet. Like, a lot of people just straight up mentioned that they need an exhaust, but you know, like, you can live with this for a while. I think I don't mind it. I actually like it a lot. Like, so far I'm trying to break the car in. I haven't punched it. I haven't taken it above like 4,500-5,000 RPM yet. So, but yeah, it sounds really, really good. Like, it sounds much better than my WRX did when I first got it, which sounded muffled. It sounded like a Toyota Corolla or something, you know. And this sounds nothing like it. It sounds aggressive. Every downshift you do, it sounds mean, you know. You can tell the RPM right away. And even when your windows are fully up, that sound that is pumped into the cabin helps a lot with that. It actually helps with the driving. Another point I noticed right away is how high the grab point is on the clutch pedal. I could not get used to it, because in my WRX I made a clutch stopper that basically sits under the pedal that allows it to not go to the floor all the way, so it feels like the grab point is closer to the floor where the clutch actually engages. In this car, it's so high up that it took me a while to actually adjust and be able to drive it. But that's one mod I'll do right away, install my clutch stopper into this. The shifter itself is super buttery smooth. There's none of that notchiness that I had in my WRX, where I immediately had to modify it with a Boomba plate, Boomba's short shifter and other stuff. This one, I don't think you need to do anything, you know. The shift knob is nice. Every gear you go into, it's like, it's direct. There's no sloppiness like when you move it up and down. Like WRX has that sloppiness, you know, where the shifter just moves but nothing else is happening. STI doesn't have that because it's a direct shifting gearbox, but WRX is operated by a cable, which basically there's a cable connected to your shifter that runs down into the gearbox, which has a plate, which is called a shift plate. So that rotates. That's what kind of puts things into gear, you know. But this car, it feels direct. It feels just like the STI. A friend of mine has an STI, and he lets me drive it every once in a while, and it feels just like it, you know. It's direct and just precise. It's got that clunky sound, you know, like that. Just it lets you know that something is going on mechanical underneath the car, and it's just really cool. Makes you engage with the car more, connect with it like a machine. Yeah, definitely see why people like it so much. This is analog as it gets. There's no automatic rev matching, which I absolutely cannot stand because I like to do my own rev matching. If you have your car rev match for you, that takes basically 50% of the joy out of the picture, you know, because on downshifts you want to be rev matching yourself to get it perfect and get rewarded with that perfect shift where it doesn't, you know, it doesn't jerk. Luckily this car has none of that, and when you drive it you feel like it's like old school, but it's smooth. So one thing I noticed about this car that gave me some cool ideas is how this curves so aggressively inwards and this steps out. So I thought, you know what, why not make like a cool winglet type of deal where it flows with this line, but like it sort of is tilted outwards, so it gives you more width and it's not just like this empty space. Of course you need like a wider wheels for this, you know, lower offset, so it's either a poke or at least a flush look, because with these wheels it would make absolutely no sense to put anything aero wise. But yeah, so basically a winglet that would swoop down like this, curve in and flow into and underneath this whole section, you know. Anyway, you'll see later. So, but yeah, that's my first idea. Super excited about that. That's probably what I'm going to start with, and then I want to definitely do something with the trunk. This car needs a wing of some sort, and it doesn't necessarily need like a giant GT wing, but something that kind of extends outwards a little bit, like extends back and sits a little bit higher than this, because the car is really short visually. So when you're next to the car, it feels really tiny, you know? So like when you have something here that extends the rear, the car benefits from that by looking longer and like more aggressive, I guess. But to start with, I think I would do some kind of duckbill. Like I'll try to design something on my own. I'm not sure what yet, but maybe like this same thing but extending more backwards, and I don't know. We'll see about this. I hope you guys stay tuned on my Instagram and YouTube, because there's going to be a lot going on with this project. And I got this strictly as a project car, not a daily driver or anything like that. I still want to keep my WRX, so this is going to be like a side project. And I'll keep my WRX for a while because I really like it as well. I really don't want to sell it or part it out. And I just want like a sort of clean slate where I can design things like from nothing again, you know. I enjoy that a lot. So anyway, so thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.